Welcome to the Best 5-Minute Wine Podcast. I'm your host, Forrest Kelly. From the seed to the glass, wine has a past. Our aim at the Best 5-Minute Wine Podcast is to look for adventure at wineries around the globe. After all, grape minds think alike. Let's start the adventure. Our featured winery is... Oh, you've heard the expression, the grass is always greener? Well, the grass is always greener in Willamette Valley. It grows more turf and forage grass than anywhere else in the world. Eric Asimov of the New York Times calls Willamette Valley the country's most exciting wine area. It's a favored destination for whitewater rafting and home to...
This is Alex Fullerton with Fullerton Wines. I am the co-owner and winemaker.
All right, Alex, give us a little history on how Fullerton wine came about.
So my dad, his best friend, inherited his grandpa's wine cellar. So he grew up driving down to Burgundy and Bordeaux with old bottles, but mainly his best friend, my godfather, ended up starting a wine importation company in Denmark. I was born in Denmark. My mom is Swedish. My dad was born in California to an American dad and a Danish mom. Long story, my dad kind of got me into wine. So when I was in graduating high school, he ended up taking me on a trip to Burgundy, Champagne, and Cognac. And we actually picked up one of my best friends from Denmark, him and his dad. We picked them up at the airport, drive to Burgundy. I just fell in love with how different the wines were. And so long story short, I stood too close to this guy. He had the contagious wine bug, and I caught that. Since he's a big fan of wine, he kind of stocked me with some more affordable stuff throughout college. So we kind of started home brewing, had a little bit of a bootlegging operation going. My roommates and I got into fermentation that way. As I was graduating with an Econ degree, was up tasting at Penerash, and got a job in the wine industry and just fell in love with everything about the industry.
Okay, since you are the winemaker at Fullerton Wines, let's get your degree background.
Originally, economics from U of O, University of Oregon, but then I ended up getting a job at Penerash, fell in love with the industry, worked in New Zealand for a bit, worked at Bergstrom, then ended up deciding to go back to school at Oregon State, the bitter rival. So I'm a rare platypus, which is a beaver and a duck. But I ended up going back to school for viticulture and enology, which is grape growing and winemaking.
You've got a huge selection of wines at Fullerton Wines, but which one is your most popular?
So our Three Otters label is what we make the most of. And Three Otters Pinot Noir, which is a blend of vineyards from throughout the Willamette Valley again. That's our most popular wine, I guess, if you look at production. And that is something special about us, too, is we don't make all the wines the same. So we like to optimize each vineyard, and we do a lot of different production techniques. So we like to experiment. Sometimes the experiments work out, and then we move that direction. Sometimes we don't like it as much and move away from that direction. Three Otters really gets a huge diversity of different things while still maintaining what it is to be a Willamette Valley Pinot Noir, which is a little bit lighter, easy, approachable, but still with lots of flavor, some spice and earthiness, and then red tone fruit. Sometimes leaning into a little bit of darker fruit, but generally a redder aspect to the fruit profile. And that really is what we're going for in Three Otters Pinot.
Will somebody answer that phone?
It's time, boys and girls, for our listener voicemail.
Hey, Forrest, this is Brad from North Carolina. Me and my buddies are sitting around pounding a couple boxes of wine.
I don't know what the hell kind of unit you're running here.
Just want to know, why is wine stored on its side?
That's a good question, Brad. No, it's not because the wine is tired. In order for the wine to last, the cork has got to stay moist. So putting it on its side keeps the cork moist. All right, Brad, you and your buddies can go back to pounding that box wine.
It's time to party.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. I'm Forrest Kelly. This episode of the Best 5-Minute Wine Podcast was produced by Asimov. If you like the show, please tell your friends and pets and subscribe. Until next time, pour the wine and ponder your next adventure.